We're into the home stretch of the Simulation Football League's 19th season, and the Sunday slate of the 10th week starts off with a doozy in the District of Columbia. Two teams that snuck into the playoffs a season ago are now firmly in the postseason picture this time around, setting up a ton of intrigue in the third all-time meeting between the Tulsa Desperados and the DC Dragons. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Dungeons of Dracarys Coliseum in Washington, D.C., alongside producer extraordinaire Chairman Irvine, our statisticians Zach Haldorf and Mel Davis, and my partner Rochelle Colston. I'm Tim Hackett. You're watching the SFL presented by 8 p.m. Music live on YouTube. Happy to have you with us. Ray, it's always the case with the season at this stage, but it feels like there's a ton at stake, these two sides.
Yeah, I mean, this time of the year, there's always a ton of stake. I mean, teams are fighting to get back in it. Teams are fighting, just to get a playoff spot. So, but I'm going to call this game the Battle of the Halfbacks. Both of these teams run very similar offenses. They feature their franchise backs as receivers and rushers. For instance, Kevin Say for DC is their team's leading receiver, while Tulsa's Douglas Brown is the second leading receiver on the team behind their star receiver, Gabriel Manning. So, my keys to the game today are contain the halfbacks, limit the interceptions, and protect the quarterback by the O-lines. Both of these quarterbacks have been sacked 20 times each, so let's see what happens.
Two teams that really snuck into the playoffs last year. They were not good at all, these two sides in Season 17, combined for 5 wins. Last season, they both make the playoffs and meet up in the wild card round. One of the most successful seasons for both franchises. And now here in Season 19 in Week 10, if the playoffs started today, both of these teams would not only be in the playoffs, they would be top 6 seeds in the playoffs. How much things can change from one season to the next. DC will get the ball first at home, and we are underway, the first of 4 games on this Sunday slate across the SFL family of networks. Second-year wide receiver and kick returner Gus Scott brings the ball up to the 20-yard line. Not a lot on that return for DC, and that is where they will start off. So the Dragons start off the season all the way back in Week 1, facing off against the reigning champion Baltimore Vultures. That was a loss for DC, but since then, they have been on a roll. They have won 7 in a row, including an impressive win last time out, 34-16 on the road against Charleston. First throw today from Shabazz Synergy, floats it, and it's swatted away. Great one-on-one coverage on the outside by the linebacker, David Ware.
Yeah, and I mean, DC's been 7-1. They get to play Baltimore again, I think, in Week 14. So this should be a very interesting division after all.
Now it looks like this division may potentially be up for grabs, as you pointed out to me this week, Ray, with Baltimore surprisingly to everybody losing yesterday to Minnesota. They are now no longer undefeated. They're 9-1, so if DC can win out, they've got a chance at this division. But first things first, got to take care of a strong Tulsa team here this evening. Synergy will throw again. Out of the backfield they go, and like Rochelle mentioned, these two teams use their running backs a ton. They're two of the best tailbacks in the SFL. Our first look today at Kevin Say, gain of 2.
And I mean, Tulsa's doing a great job. I mean, it's 3rd and 8 on their opening drive. Let's see what happens here.
2 stops for Tulsa, which is one of the weakest defenses in terms of pass defense, yards allowed. Only 2 allowed over the first 2 plays. Synergy now throwing right sideline and intercepted. Cameron Shaw sticks the toes down in bounds and pulls away his 3rd pick of the season. What a start for the Desperados.
I'm getting kind of a deja vu flashback from yesterday's game. Interceptions already.
You mentioned it. One of your keys to the game, Rochelle, limit the interceptions. That's something Shabazz Synergy has done a brilliant job of this season. Only 14 turnovers for him this season, second fewest in the league. But 4 of those came last week. And on DC's first drive, he's got another turnover. JQ will start in enemy territory, and the first run for Douglas Brown. Spin move for Douglas Brown. Can anyone stop him? Yes, they can. At the 5-yard line, a touchdown saving tackle by second-year corner Daryl Bullock.
And Daryl Bullock was very lucky to catch up with him at that time because he's very quick once he gets moving. He kicked it into overdrive there. Ooh, nice spin move.
Drive is right. Spin move, leave one man in the dust, and then Bullock saves a score, at least for now. A rush of 31 yards on the first play of scrimmage for Douglas Brown. Again, 2 of the best tailbacks in the SFL doing battle here this afternoon. Second ever matchup between Douglas Brown and Kevin Say. First and goal from the 5. Q will toss it this way for Brown, and he is tackled inbounds. Great one-on-one stop by fourth-year corner John DeSantis.
And a great open field tackle there. I mean, he's a hard man to bring down once he gets moving forward.
Pass catcher as well as rusher Douglas Brown averages 5.2 yards per carry and 5.7 yards per catch. Close to 1,100 total yards and 11 total touchdowns through 8 games. The split back set. Q steps back and fires, swatted and nearly caught on the carom by Corey Jones, but at first hit Riley Hughes, who is having an excellent season, his 4th year as an outside backer for DC.
Yeah, there was plenty of defenders in the middle of that play there. I'm surprised it wasn't intercepted. But great job by the defense.
Could have been. Hughes has an interception this season. It was the first of his career. Did not have any over his first 3. Tulsa gains 1 yard on its first 2 plays at the 5-yard line. Again, 2 backs in the backfield for Q, who will throw again over the middle and knocked away.
Ooh.
At a target there was DJ Hume. Excellent coverage. Now 4th down.
You gotta catch those, Tim. I mean, I think he had both hands on the ball and he's just knocked away the last second.
They had that slot receiver, DJ Hume, and he's the slot receiver extraordinaire, Ray. He's 5'10", 185. That's where he's lived for his whole career, and he had the one-on-one coverage, and the defender just reaches in and swats it away. No foul. So now Tulsa will have to trot out Brooke Beisel. They gain about half a yard on 3 plays once they get to the 5-yard line. And Brooke Beisel, who has only missed 1 field goal so far this season, is good from 21 yards. Cameron Shaw's 3rd interception turns into 3 points, and Tulsa is off and running.
I guess 3 points is better than nothing at this point.
I mean, to your point, disappointing the way that drive ended. Would you have had any designs on going for it there on 4th and goal?
Too early in the game, Tim. I mean, take the points.
Tulsa has the lead. 2-0 all-time against DC. Played here in the District of Columbia now all 3 times in the all-time series, and only a slightly better return this time for Gus Scott. Let's introduce you to the DC Dragons offense for head coach and offensive coordinator Stephen Mullinax and owner Jermaine Smith, who are now back together at the controls once again. Shabazz Synergy is the quarterback. Kevin Say is the tailback. Chuck Stellar is the fullback. 4 wide receivers, Josh Gill, Mike Churchill, Gus Scott, and Ronnie Shanahan, and a pair of tight ends, Lauren Percoco and Craig Westlake. Didn't get to hear from most of them on DC's first possession, which ended in an interception. Now here's the first carry for Kevin Say, and right on cue, we've talked about these 2 tailbacks. Ray, gain of 6 for the reigning all-star running back.
Yeah, but we'll be seeing a lot of Kevin Say today. We'll be seeing a lot of Douglas Brown, so just sit back and watch the halfback show.
Synergy has been known to light it up in a good way over the course of his career. He was excellent last season, kind of middle of the pack in a lot of things this year, but you can afford to be middle of the pack as a QB if you've got a running back who is top 5 in a couple of different categories like Kevin Say is. They'll go to him again, spin move, and he can't break through the second wave. That's cornerback Nate Heslip, 3rd down.
This for 3rd manageable here. I mean, to me, they had him behind the line of scrimmage, and he just powered his way through to gain a couple of yards to make him basically something out of nothing there.
Heslip is having a monstrous season. 10th season corner, former All-Star back in season 15. Could be ticketed for another one here in season 19 if he keeps it up. 2nd, 3rd down today for DC. They'll run it now for Say. Kevin Say, 1st down and more. Out to the sidelines he goes. Only 1 defender can stop him, and no one will catch him. What a response on 3rd down. Kevin Say, 70 yards. Touchdown, Dragons.
With some great blocking up front, and basically after that first hole, he was just going to the races. There's nobody there to catch him. Nobody there to stop him at all, basically.
That is a defensive end, Berto Demora, who is trying to give chase, and if that is your only competition, the race is already lost. Rushing touchdown number 11 for Kevin Say.
I have a feeling we'll be seeing a lot of that today, Tim.
We called it running back show, and already a 31-yard rush for Douglas Brown. Then they surprisingly don't go to him, as DJ Hume pointing out in the chat. They don't go to Brown at all, at least on the ground, inside the 5. EC gets it back, and Say doubles up Brown on his biggest run of the day. 70 yards for 6. PAT good from Potty and How about that as a response for DC? You throw a pick on your first possession, you watch Tulsa march down the field and hit a field goal after that interception, and then on your third play of your second possession, it's a 70-yard run.
Impressive run by Kevin Say, and it was impressive blocking by the O-line up front because he had a hole and nobody else touched him, basically.
6.5 yards per carry this season for Kevin Say, fourth best in the league, 10 touchdowns before today, sixth in the league, and fifth in rushing yards with 887. Tack on 77 more for him already, and DC now has the lead. We figured this would be an important game for both teams. It's been kind of an up and down season somewhat for Tulsa. They lose their first 2 games, then they win their next 5, including 3 by double digits and the other 2 by 3 points. And their 5-game win streak snapped last week with a 24-13 loss at Sioux Falls. So Tulsa coming in at 5-3, but still one of the best teams in the SFL record-wise. JQ steps in, throws. It's short of the sticks, but a nice gain on first down for Jim Copeland Jr., the heir apparent tight end.
Yeah, I'm surprised that DC is such an underdog in this game. I mean, they're giving Tulsa's such an underdog. They're giving DC 10.5 points. I'm surprised by that.
DC is 2 games ahead in the standings, and the Dragons would be a first-round bye team if the postseason started before this week, but a lot of things have shaken up already after the last 2 days, and we expect maybe more will come over the 4 games today. Second down, Q throws, first down, and plenty more. Nice link up with Corey Jones. Here is the Tulsa offense for Deion Hawkins, the head coach, and Gabe Manning, the OC. You've already heard from JQ, and you've already heard from Douglas Brown. He's the tailback. Justin Williams is the fullback. 4 wideouts, Gabriel Manning, Corey Jones, DJ Hume, and Sanzo Robinson. Jim Copeland Jr. is the tight end, and the offensive line is anchored by left tackle Will Stevens and right tackle Phoebe Collins. Second year and first year, respectively, in the SFL. First season, I should say. Phoebe Collins. Run it left tackle behind Stevens, and Brown is wrenched down by Riley Cuse.
Believe it or not, that's only Brown's second rushing attempt today. Tulsa's been mixing it up a lot with the passing game today.
Mentioned how good Say has been this season. Same story for Douglas Brown. 11th in carries, 10th in yards with 815. 10th in average, 5.2, and 9th in touchdowns with 9. He's been excellent in his sophomore season and on the doorstep of his second straight 1,000-yard campaign. Hugh will throw on second down, and that's caught. First catch today for Sanzo Robinson. Tulsa fans know this story. He was the standout running back for the Desperados for his first 7 seasons in the SFL. One of the biggest names at that position. Converts to wide receiver to make way for Douglas Brown, who somehow is an even bigger name at that position. And so far, so good. Tulsa gets into the postseason last season and surely en route to it again this year. Dart from Q, right on target. Corey Jones has another catch.
That was a nice play there by Tulsa. It's good play calling. I mean, right over the middle of the field, it was wide open. Great throw, great catch.
Already the second catch today for Corey Jones, who was second on this team in yards and in catches among wide receivers at least, but way behind Gabriel Manning, who is first on this team in yards, receptions, and touchdowns. Jones has 25 fewer catches and 150 fewer yards than Gabriel Manning, and of course, 8 fewer touchdowns. Fresh set here for Tulsa. Brown with a hop step and gets to the 45-yard line, buried there by Josh Vasquez, the offseason acquisition for DC. Here's the rest of the defense. The line, John Gary, Saeed Gore on the outsides, Jose Fuentes, Benny Butcher on the interior. Linebackers, Declan O'Rourke, Riley Cuse, and Nathaniel Diggs. And in the secondary, corners, Peanut Say, John DeSantis, and Darrell Bullock. The safeties, Jorge Torres, Josh Vasquez, and Ty Woodson. 4 for Brown. Now they'll run it again. A couple of spins for Brown. Breaks away that time from Vasquez and gets inside the 35 to the 34. That's what Brown can do for you.
Like UPS. No, I mean, number 21 he just made him look silly. Then broke another tackle there and finally brought down. But they moved the chains anyway.
Vasquez has had a killer year. His first season playing for DC, 9th total season, off-season acquisition from the Denver Nightwings. They're leaders in tackles for loss, interceptions, and possession of the team's only defensive touchdown. Makes the play on first down, but not on second down. Tulsa from the 34. Will toss it out. Here's Brown again. Spin move, and Brown is able to get 7 through the sky. They go to him again, Ray.
And its cornerbacks are playing way too back. They're giving Brown way too much room to run.
Already
I think they be closer up to the line.
Already his 6th touch in this game. He averages 26 touches per game, 137 yards. Again, 11 total touchdowns on the year. Q under pressure, down he goes. That has been a big problem for Tulsa over the years. Same story this season, Rochelle. First sack tonight, and it belongs to John Gary.
And the O-line just kind of broke down. I mean, he just broke through through that guard, and it was just one-on-one to the quarterback there.
4th season defensive end, John Gary, sack number 5 for him. Getting through 2nd season left tackle Will Stevens. And all the yards that also get on first down now disappear. 3rd and 10. Q into traffic, double coverage, swatted away. Excellent coverage that time. Middle linebacker Declan O'Rourke was there, and it's 4th down.
That was a very dangerous pass. He's lucky, they still have the ball.
What's your decision here, Rochelle? I mean, if they bring out Beisel, it's a 51-yarder.
I agree with the decision here, Tim. I mean, he's a contract kicker. He should be able to make this.
Brooks only missed 1 this year. We've already seen her make from 21 just a minute ago, but this would be one of the longest field goals of her career. Hold down from DeShera Young. The kick is on its way, and it's good officially from 51. Put it on the board. Another make from Brooke Beisel, and Tulsa is back within 1.
I think they could have gone for like 54, 55 yards. I mean, that was a nice kick.
Just removes all doubts. I mean, just a second-year kicker, Ray. That's why I asked you the question. I mean, kickers often, we always see them get better as they progress in this league, and 50-plus is a hard make for any kicker in their 3rd year or less, in my estimation. But like you said, no problem with that one.
I mean, we see our second-year kicker instead of Wendy make a 53 or 54-yarder this year. It's doable.
No doubt. And kickers in this league are excellent. Gus Scott with another return, and again, not much doing on that return. Great coverage by Tulsa.
Yeah, both teams are doing a great job on special teams with their kick returns today so far.
Tulsa's got one of the best kick returners, not only in the league, but in league history on the other side in Gabriel Manning, and we haven't even called his name at all, Rochelle, and Tulsa's possessed the ball twice, so DC clearly doing what they can to take him out of the equation. They have done so. The Dragons now with the ball again, up by 1.
And Tulsa had a long drive on that last possession. A little worried they keep doing that and keep falling behind. It could be a problem towards the end of the game.
Our
That's a 12 drive.
That's 11 plays, as I recall, and it only ends in 3 points. So they get 3 points off of the Cameron Shaw pick, and then a more traditional drive, and it only ends in 3 points as well. So DC 1 of 2, 1 interception and 1 touchdown. That's Kevin Say with the toss, gets stood up in the backfield for a loss of 2. Synergy, clean pocket, tosses this way again. It's Say. That's better for DC. Look at that. Something out of nothing, and Kevin Say has a gain of 15 and a first down.
Yeah, but once Kevin Say gets moving forward and does a couple of spin moves, he's almost he's almost impossible to tackle in the open field. So lucky they got him down that time. I mean, look at that. That's 2 tackles broken right there.
Tulsa had 2 defenders right there on the sideline trying to keep him in bounds. They did, but unfortunately they couldn't get a handle on Kevin Say. A slippery guy, already responsible for DC's only score, of course. Close to 100 all-purpose yards already. Synergy will throw, and that's the first catch by a receiver, somebody not named Kevin Say for DC this afternoon. That is Gus Scott, 2nd-year wide receiver and kick returner. Good for a gain of 8.
Right now we see Tulsa mixing it up, using their receivers, using everybody, and DC's become kind of the Kevin Say show. We'll see how it plays out after this. But
DC spreads the ball so well, Rochelle. I mean, this is one of the most balanced offensive teams in the league. Obviously, we know they get Kevin Say involved a lot. He's caught nearly 60 passes. That's most on the team. But among their traditional pass catchers, they're so evenly spread. It's tough to know where they'll go. But often they go to Kevin Say, and on 2nd down they do just that, and he gets them the first down again.
Well, right. can't help that. I mean, Kevin Say just does it all, and I keep using him until they can find an answer for him.
Statisticians telling us 4 carries for 81 yards for Say and another 15 yards through the sky. Math even I can do, 96 all-purpose yards, and we're still in the first quarter. DC by 1. Say alone with Synergy in the backfield. He splits out, but Synergy will toss it up,
nice.
And it's caught by Lauren Percoco. Fourth-year tight end has her first catch, over 300 receiving yards on the season. Joining the top 3 wideouts in that category, Churchill, Scott, and Gill, all of them over 300 receiving yards as well.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Percoco. I like her.
We used to see her quite a bit in Fort Worth, right? And now her second season playing here for DC. She's the #1 tight end here, and she's had a solid season. 3 receiving touchdowns for her as well. Most among them are pass catchers. Here's the give, and what a run. Kevin Say bruising again inside the 40.
Yeah, but, you know, 2nd and 2, 3rd and 2, you're going to see Say he's probably going to get your first down almost every time.
He's good for 6.5 yards per rush on average and 7.5 yards per catch. It can almost get you a first down or at least more than halfway there every time he touches the ball, it feels like. We'll go to him again, and Tulsa, not that time, is right. Say blown up for a loss of 4 by Philadelphia Collins.
Great read by Collins there.
Saw Chuck Steller, the fullback. You see him 34 right on the left side of your screen. He just went up left guard, Ray, and that left Collins, who was lined up outside the left tackle, left Collins a free rush. DC is an anomaly. They don't roster a star offensive lineman. Again, Tulsa has 2 that you heard from already. You see one of the few teams that does not. Synergy hit as he throws. Somehow gets that pass into the body of one of his linemen. He was waylaid by Jaden Swift.
I thought that was a sack there for a second. I didn't see the ball come out.
Getting pressure has been a struggle for Tulsa this year. Both sides of the line, they have not been great the last couple of seasons, Rochelle. And again, same old story. Just 11 sacks as a team this season, 21st in a 28-team league. 36 tackles for loss as a team, 27th in a 28-team league. Synergy will throw on 3rd and a mile. That's caught again. Scott has his second catch of this possession, and that'll make this an easier field goal. But that's the end of the first quarter of play. DC with the Kevin Say touchdown has the lead. You're watching the SFL presented by APM Music live on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's such a low-scoring game so far. I was thinking it would be a big-scoring game.
Jack's data clearly agreed with you. You see the over-under in the bottom left of your screen, 57.5 and 13 combined points through quarter number 1. So Pati, one of the most used kickers in the SFL, but actually one of the least successful kickers in the SFL this season, surprisingly enough, considering how good he was over his first 2 seasons. Nearly has this one blocked, but Pati knocks it through from 50 yards. We saw Beisel hit from 51. Pati now on the board from 50, and DC up 4.
Yeah, I love the name. Every time you hear him call, it's like, you're going to have a party down in DC.
I'll withhold my own opinions then. But it is a Pati now here for DC. And again, he's 4th in the league in makes, 2nd in the league in attempts, 22, but 1st in the league in misses. He missed 3 kicks this season, so his percentage is just 86%. 2nd worst in the league, which is, again, a surprise considering how good he was over his first 2 seasons. Manning on that return for Tulsa. He's got more kick return yards than receiving yards in his career, Rochelle, and he just went over 10,000 receiving yards in his career last week. So it just shows you how dynamic he is in the return game.
Definitely. He's a very dangerous player on the field, no matter what he's doing.
All in money because of how often he cashes in, but he only gets Tulsa to the 23-yard line. Brown in the backfield, he will get the give. Tried to whip out those spin moves a little bit early that time, Rochelle, and not much doing for Brown there.
Yeah, he was just spinning in a circle there that time, too. It was like he was going nowhere.
It was. The Tulsa run defense was ready. Beg your pardon, the DC run defense was ready. Excuse me. It's been kind of an average defense DC has in terms of yards 21st in total yards allowed, 393 per game. They don't give up a ton of points, 6th in total points, under 24 per game. There's a better looking spin move for Brown, and he gets all the way out to the 32 before he's tackled by Jose Fuentes.
That was just a power run there by Brown. He just was carrying defenders with him.
Fuentes knows a thing or two about making stops on running backs. Spent his whole career as a linebacker. Now this season, defensive tackle, his first season here with DC. More Nightwing and Sioux Falls Sparrow. Makes that stop. Now 3rd and 1 for Tulsa. Stretch it out. Does Brown have space? He makes space, and he's hit short of the sticks. A couple of Dragons were there to ground him, led by Josh Vasquez.
Maybe he wouldn't have bounced it backwards. He probably would have gotten the first down there. So that was a great play on defense by DC.
I'm stunned, Ray, because that didn't look like he had a chance. And then I thought he had it for sure, and then Josh Vasquez put an end to it.
He kind of bounced himself backwards and tried to go forward again, and it was just too late.
Too late indeed. Another tackle for Vasquez. Punt away from Ismaila Farouk. First time we're meeting him today. Fair catch called for and made by Gus Scott. We're live from the Dungeon of Dracarys Coliseum in D.C. Aerial coverage of today's game is provided by Dags Droneworks. Aerial photography and videography services for real estate, events, marketing, and more. Learn more at dagsdroneworks.com. Happy to have you with us here this evening. First of 4 games coming your way across the SFL family of networks. Second game just kicked off over on Twitch. Twitch.tv/SimulationFL. Here on YouTube, Tim Hackett, Rochelle Colston coming to you live in what should be a really, really good game. I've been looking forward to this, Rochelle. Gain of 4 for Kevin Say. Like we mentioned, these two squads met in the playoffs last year. They were both 7-5 after the regular season. I remember doing coverage of that game with Cameron Irvine, and these were my 2 picks for most improved team from a season ago. Because remember, DC had 3 wins in season 17. Tulsa had 2, and then they both come out and put up 7 wins a season ago. DC's already at that mark here in season 19, and you figure Tulsa's got a good chance to get there as well. Say again with the carry. Say again with the first down.
Say's been impressive so far today. He's just doing what he wants to do on the field.
Highlight Craig Westlake with that push-out block, 87 in the EC Teal. We're getting updates from Cameron Irvine, who is the master of the SFL landscape. This game means a lot to both teams, no question about it, here in Week 10 of 12. Say gets that tossed and stuck in the backfield again, and another TFL for Tulsa. Remember, they don't get very many, second fewest in the league, but they've got a couple on Kevin Say here in the first half. So Cameron Irvine telling us if Tulsa loses, there would be a 3-way tie atop the Central Division. Tulsa right now is, for this week, was first in that division, half game ahead of Sioux Falls, which is 5-4. They're on a bye this week, but Tulsa lost to Sioux Falls last week, and with Minnesota winning earlier today, it could pose a big logjam. There's a nice link up from Shabazz Synergy right on target to Josh Gill. His first catch of the night, first down.
That was a great design play there. Caught the defense a little off guard. Wide open in the middle of the field. Guess they were looking for Say, and they got a receiver instead.
Gill already with a better night tonight than he had last week against Charleston. Just 1 catch for 3 yards, which is a surprising stat line for DC's leader in yards, over 500 on the season. Only Dragon that can say that. That one goes for 13 and a first down. The 46, Synergy has time, throws right in stride. Gus Scott has another catch and another first down for DC out towards the 32.
I like this play call. They've gotten away from Say a little bit, and they're using their receivers, been more balanced on the field, keeping the defense on their toes.
They are really starting to spread it around, Rochelle. Like we mentioned, this team is so balanced. Percoco, Scott, Gill, and Mike Churchill, who we've not heard from yet, all have between 300 and 500 receiving yards and between 30 and 40 catches. So such a balanced approach. And Say gets sandwiched. Great stop in the backfield by Bird Sotomora.
This is where I think not having the O-line kind of hurts DC.
What do you think the byproduct of that is, just by not having somebody in that position?
I think you really have no blocking you know, paid blockers up front, which kind of hurts your running game sometimes.
Like it has to. Risky throw from Synergy, but he lofts it up and drops it into the breadbasket. Mike Churchill makes his first catch of the day. Just talked about him over top of Cameron Shaw, who had the interception earlier.
Yeah, Cameron Shaw read the play well. He just has a little, could get up high enough to pipe the ball away.
And even dating back to the first season of the SFLM, we knew that Cameron Shaw is a pass deflection wizard. He's been great at that as a minor league player, and now as a major league player. He's got 7 at his 3rd pick of the season earlier, but not that time. 3rd and manageable now for DC. He'll spread it out with 4 wides and a tight end. Synergy looks to the tight end and has her. Lauren Percoco inside the red zone.
Like I said, Tim, I like this. DC's not looking one-sided anymore, and they're using basically almost every weapon on their drive so far.
Just about everybody has now brought in the ball. Rochelle, we've seen a catch now, 2 for Percoco, Gill, Churchill, 3 for Scott. Westlake has gotten involved in the blocking game as well. From the red zone, here they go. They'll toss it out. Kevin Say, spin move, breaks through the first wave and nearly got through the second as well. Bruising tackle by Marco Swift. Another first down for Kevin Say. 1st and goal, DCD.
Yep, and that was so close to being a touchdown. Great job by Marco Swift. There was 4 defenders there. They almost had to bring him down.
Someone had to, you would think, but we've already seen you use the word slippery earlier for Kevin Say. It's such a fitting descriptor because he just makes people miss all the time, it feels like. Say now over 100 all-purpose yards already.
The left side of that field's wide open for Kevin Say.
It will run it to Kevin Say to the left side of the field. Point for you, Rochelle Colston, and 6 points for DC. 2nd touchdown for Kevin Say.
Yep, I saw that before the play even was started. It's like the whole left side of the field was wide open. There was nobody there.
Well, even with those 0-star offensive linemen, Rochelle, they've got 2-star tight ends and a star fullback, which helps offset some of that blocking, the running room, I guess. And all of them are out there to help make Kevin Say's 2nd rushing touchdown the easiest of his life.
That was beautiful. Basically untouched.
We mentioned that Tulsa has really struggled to prevent teams from racking up yards over the last couple of seasons. Whoa, snap, and not a great PAT, but it's all good. It's another potty. He hits the PAT, his 3rd made kick today. Tulsa is dead last in the league in passing yards, 362 yards per game, but they're 2nd in the league against the run. They average only 66 rushing yards allowed per game. So far in this first half, Kevin Say has already rushed for 94.
Let's see how Tulsa responds here.
Money Manning waiting to talk to the tellers at the bank. It's his outside, nothing doing. Kick coverage for both teams has been excellent. Well, if you're new to the SFL, we know some of you in the chat here on YouTube are. Welcome to you. This is the Simulation Football League. It combines traditional sports, esports, and a role-playing game all into one. Team strategies are being executed in real time by our simulations as real-life players compete on the virtual gridiron. For more information about the SFL, visit our website, www.simulationfl.net. The SFL, we put the fan in fantasy. Start especially for DC. Is that a run for JQ? It sure is. This happened a couple of times in that playoff meeting last season in the wild card round. Q ran it 3 times, went for negative yards, even though DC did not record any sacks. And that time he's able to pick up a meager gain of 1.
I never like to see the quarterback run. Never. But that's just me. You don't want me to get hurt in this game.
Oh, no doubts. And that is, you make a great point, because no team is equipped to have their quarterback go down. Q nearly goes down again, somehow gets that pass off. Met Benny Butcher in the backfield, and somehow Q avoided getting blown up.
Very lucky there to even get that pass off. Butcher was all over him.
Butcher is red hot. 4.5 sacks on the season. 3.5 of those came last week against Charleston. Put another way, he only had 1 sack in his first 7 games. He had 3.5 last week, 4 times hitting the quarterback. 3rd and 9. Q's pass wide open. DJ Hume has running room for the first down and gets out to the Tulsa 38-yard line. A gain of 15 for number 15.
Did I see a blitz there and then just left the middle of the field wide open? No. Yeah.
It kind of looked like a linebacker blitz, I think, from Declan O'Rourke on the left side, and it left a lot of room in that vacated zone, just like you said. Only one catch last week against Sioux Falls, and already on the board with his first catch for 15 here today.
We still haven't called Manning's name at all today as far as receiving yards.
No doubt, they haven't even gone his way. Also, we'll pack the box here. 4:13 left in the half. Q under pressure again, won't escape that time. Down he goes. Another sack conceded by Tulsa. This for a loss of 6. Benny Butcher gets it that time.
That time the pressure actually paid off him, and they got to him in a hurry.
Almost immediately. I mean, you can have 2 rostered tackles on a team all you want, but if a team's going to be able to rush that quickly, then what are they supposed to do about it? Especially because most of DC's pressure comes from the interior with Fuentes and Butcher. Q will throw right on the target. A dot from JQ. That brings up 3rd and short, and there is the first catch of the day for Gabe Manning.
Surprising, we're almost at halftime, and the first time we hear Manning's name called today. He's a big, high-paid weapon.
He's one of the biggest play wide receivers in the SFL. We know that by now. Team leader in everything. Receiving yards, receptions, touchdowns with 5, and targets. He's in the top 30 in the SFL in all of those statistics. It's his first catch and first target. The 45. Q has time this time, but now he gets hit and floats it up, and it's caught! Gabriel Manning has it again to the DC 35.
You can only contain that man for so long. I mean, he's a playmaker. He always has been. That's why he gets paid the big bucks.
617 receiving yards on the season, like we mentioned. Went over the 10,000-yard mark in his career last week against Sioux Falls, the 9th player in league history to do that. 2 catches for him on back-to-back plays. Do they go to him again? They sure do. Like you said, they can't keep him. Can't keep a guy like this restrained for that long. 3 straight catches for Manning.
Yeah, nice play on first down. I mean, 5 yards is all you really need. And I'd go with Kevin Say here and pick up the other 5.
Seen Say at all on this possession, have we?
No, we haven't. Surprisingly enough.
Yeah, no doubt. Stark contrast to what we saw on pretty much every other DC possession. 13 pass attempts, 11 rush attempts so far for the Dragons.
Sorry, I meant to say Douglas Brown. It's not Say.
Oh, that's what I don't even know. I was looking at the wrong side as well. I screwed us both up there, and it's a carry for Brown. It's also kind of an uneven split as well for Tulsa. 13 attempts and now 9 carries for Brown.
When you say he didn't have any point in this drive, he gets his first, carry.
There you go. You get another point for that one. 3rd down and 4 from the 29. Q will throw top of the screen this time and knocked away. One-on-one coverage with Corey Jones against John DeSantis. Nothing doing that time. It'll be 4th down after the 2-minute warning. One more look.
You can't cover that any better, but you could have caught the ball. Make it even better play.
2-minute warning here in DC, and yes, it is Tulsa that has the ball, and yes, it is Tulsa that's driving, but Rochelle, for the 3rd time today, this drive is going to come up short. Here comes Brooke Beisel for the 3rd time.
Yeah, you can't trade field goals for touchdowns with DC. It's going to be a big problem.
The best scoring offenses in the league. DC 5th in the league in points, 10th in the league in yards on offense. Tulsa's pretty good at scoring, but they struggled to move the ball, and they have struggled to even get into the red zone today. Beisel, though, is 3 of 3. Now 21, 51, and 46. Just 14 made kicks through 8 weeks. She's got a hat trick here this evening.
Like I said, you can't trade field goals for touchdowns. Not with DC. As explosive as their offense can be at times. And they're eating clock and only coming up with 3 points.
I mean, that's been the story for Tulsa. They've moved the ball now 3 times, especially after that pick on their first defensive possession. They move the ball, get to the red zone inside the goal, inside the 5-yard line, in fact. and have not been able to find the end zone. More great coverage there, and DC will start from the 21. That's about where they've started this whole game. The SFL Network is coming to the ESTV Plus app. 24/7 SFL programming will include content created by the community, the SFL's greatest games from the archives, exclusive network content, and live SFL regular season games. Download the ESTV Plus app on your Android or iPhone, or on your TV through Roku, Amazon Fire, Vizio, and more. The SFL Network, where SFL creators come together. Synergy will throw, and that is a nice link up. Talk about coming together. Great find from Synergy to Mike Churchill, and a first down for DC.
Now we can see our first look at DC's 2-minute offense.
Been in control pretty much this whole game, Rochelle. Obviously down 3-0, but then immediately fire back 3 plays later with that 70-yard run from Say, and they've been in the driver's seat since then.
Yeah, but Legends of Laughter in the chat just pointed out it's still a one-possession game.
No doubt about it. So within striking distance, and that'll help. Say makes the catch from Synergy, they say, and he's dragged out of bounds by himself for a loss of 1.
Oh, that's different.
Well, I'll break my rose-colored glasses out of the dustbin that I usually keep them in, Rochelle, and say, well, hey, at least it stops the clock.
Yeah, that's true.
The teams have all 3 timeouts. 1:14 left in the half. See how aggressive DC gets here with the lead. He'll toss it out to Say, and he can't break through. Great one-on-one tackle by Cameron Shaw.
Okay, we've been saying Cameron Shaw's name a lot tonight. He's been all over the field, Tim.
Sure has. That pick earlier. Could have had a pass deflection. Great tackle for him there. I think we need to introduce you to the Tulsa defense. Let's go through it quickly after this play, I guess. It's 3rd down and 8. DC scored their first touchdown from about this territory. They'll spread it out 4 wides, and Say now in the backfield with Shabazz Synergy, 6th season veteran. It will throw short of the sticks.
Oh.
It's caught and then tackled a yard short of that magic yellow line. Ronnie Shanahan, rookie wide receiver, 3rd-round pick. Just his 6th catch of the season, but he stopped a yard short.
He is. It's also forcing DC that punt here with
Yeah, and to your point, there's time left, and to the point in the chat, it is a 1-score game with 40 seconds left.
They still have all their timeouts, so this should be interesting when they do here the last 30 seconds or so.
Either team taking a timeout, and so DC will be able to snap this with under 30 to go. It'll make things difficult for JQ, but remember, Gabriel Manning is lying in wait on this punt return. Snap it with 25.
Any doing here?
Turnable, never mind. Great coverage again by DC. These 2 teams have been flawless in that department this evening.
I wonder why Tulsa didn't call a timeout. I mean, they wasted a lot of clock, a lot of clock before that punt. The guy just would call it a timeout.
Well, wasn't trying to cut you off. You're right. It's like 30 seconds came off the clock. 19 left. Tulsa does have all 3 timeouts still, so maybe that's something to count on. Risky throw from Q, but it's caught by Gabriel Manning, and running room for Manning, who now has 17 yards. Still no timeout coming with 10 seconds.
What is happening here? Call a timeout.
Not all 3. And Q now will jog.
Wow.
Now he calls the timeout with 3 seconds left.
What in the world?
Wow.
I don't even understand. I have no explanation for this whatsoever.
Well, 17 yards on the first play of the drive, and now that gives the team the opportunity to draw something specific up. Gabe Manning is the OC. Chance he goes his own direction here.
I think we're going to see a Hail Mary, but...
There he is. There's your matchup. Manning against...
No, we're not.
Oh, wow. Manning's the only wide receiver, and they will bring out the heavy set from the 38s. Brown can break it off, too. Here he goes, Douglas Brown. And a couple extra yards, 8 in fact, for Brown, tackled by Jorge Torres. And that is the end of the first half. Unceremonious, but that'll do it. DC with an 8-point lead, 17-9 in this potential playoff preview.
Also, we'll get the ball back after halftime, so...
True. Oh, Rochelle, we saw a little bit of everything. We expected this would be a good game. Look at that. Stats are relatively even. DC with the edge In the yard department, Tulsa with the only takeaway and 8-point lead for the Dragons at the break.
On possession is pretty even also.
Well, DC just a little bit more clinical on their possessions. Drive summary for Tulsa in that first half. Field goal from Beisel, field goal from Beisel, punts, field goal, then the end of the half. Drive summary for DC, interception, touchdown, field goal, touchdown, punt. So both teams have scored 3 times on their possessions, Rochelle, but this is the highlight of the game so far, the 70-yard run for Kevin Say. To your point, both teams have converted on 3 drives, but DC has scored touchdowns on 2 of theirs. Tulsa field goals on all 3.
Well, we'll see what halftime adjustments they make, and it's a different ballgame in the second half.
It's been a renaissance for both of these 2 teams. They're working on the best seasons in franchise history. DC is already on the cusp of that. They're 7-5 last season. Again, they're 7-1 here this season. So one more win, whether it be today or in one of their final 3 games down the stretch, will give them a new franchise record for wins in a season. This is a franchise that has won an SFL championship before, but even in that season, back in season 5, they did not have as many wins as they have already this season and as they figure are likely to have before the season is out. And Tulsa on the same side, 7 wins last season, 5-3 so far this year. Figure that this might be one of the best seasons in Desperados history after they were, frankly, both of these teams really, Rochelle, were league doormats for a couple of seasons. When DC returned to the league, they did not win a lot of games, though they were competitive just about every week. They didn't get a lot of results, but also just gave up a ton of yards, gave up a ton of points, couldn't keep people out of the end zone. But both of these teams have improved mightily into last season and now ahead of this season, and these are 2 of the better teams in the league through 8 total weeks.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a new expansion team coming in, it's always a little shaky for them in the first couple of seasons, so they get it figured out to get their players built up. That's pretty typical. But now they're like firing all cylinders, so.
And on the other side, Tulsa had so many young players, especially on offense. I mean, they bring in Q with DJ Hume and young folks like Jim Copeland Jr. And now, of course, the sophomore running back Douglas Brown trying to join the mix and make a difference for Tulsa, and he already has. Gabriel Manning, the difference maker, as we saw in that first half. It's out to the 24-yard line, and that is where the Desperados will start with an 8-point deficit. Happy to have you with us here this evening alongside my partner, the great Rochelle Colston. I'm Tim Hackett. We've got Zach Haldorf and Mel Davis alongside us in the stat truck. Cameron Irvine working hard behind the scenes. First of 4 games across the SFL networks here tonight as we wrap up Week 10, Season 19 of the SFL. JQ will throw. Out of the backfield goes Douglas Brown, slips a tackle, and then is escorted out of bounds by John DeSantis. Better late than never. Here is the DC defense for head coach Stephen Mullinax. The defensive line, John Gary, Saeed Gore, Benny Butcher, Jose Fuentes. Linebackers, Declan O'Rourke, Nathaniel Diggs, Riley Hughes. Corners, Peanut Say, John DeSantis, and Daryl Bullock. And the safeties, Jorge Torres, Ty Woodson, and Josh Vasquez. I'm not wondering if that's deja vu and if I didn't already do that, Rochelle, but hey, at least everybody gets a shout out. Better than nothing.
I don't remember either, Tim. It's been a pretty fast-paced game.
And a good first down run for Douglas Browns. We're just going to pretend that it didn't happen, and even if it did, then we'll get their names called a second time, even if we don't hear from them the rest of the game. And happy birthday to them for that. Another nice run for Brown, who's over 80 yards on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, both halfbacks are, having their usual nights out here, so.
Excellent in the playoffs against the Dragons last season, helping power Tulsa to a win. Pump fake from Q, now throws on the money, but it's dropped in and out of the hands of Sanzo Robinson, who got stuck on the play.
I'm not sure if he heard footsteps, but he was surrounded by a lot of defenders there. I guess he was waiting for the hit. I mean, I'm not sure what happened, but he just dropped the ball.
Sanzo, 11 catches on the season, now make it 12 after he had one earlier today. Did not have a catch last week. Tulsa's loss at Sioux Falls.
I remember Sanzo Robinson being a running back.
He used to be the standout here. He was the feature back here for 7 seasons, but now it's the Douglas Brown show. Risky throw by Q, intercepted, ripped away by Peanut Say, and down the sidelines he goes. Only Phoebe Collins has a chance, and she has no chance. A pick 6 for Peanut Say, just the 2nd defensive touchdown for DC.
I remember Peanut Say very well, Tim. He was one of our draft picks. Stayed with us for 1 season. But great player, great play. I don't think the receiver ever even saw the ball coming.
That was Manning. Peanut's one-on-one against Gabe Manning today, Rochelle, and you're right. We saw Peanut in his rookie season. Now he's the #1 corner here for a DC Dragons team, which would be the #3 seed if the playoffs started this week. The #1 corner on this team, of course, joining forces with Kevin Say. Did that a couple of seasons ago. This is now Peanut's 3rd season here, playing for Stephen Mullinax and company. And I mean, yeah, you're right. Manning never saw that throw. It's another pick for Q, and surprisingly enough, just the 2nd defensive touchdown for DC this season. That extends the lead out to 15.
Now, Tulsa needs to get serious and actually score touchdowns here.
DC defense is going to outscore you in terms of total touchdowns, and that's a problem. Again, only 1 touchdown. Tulsa's defense, one of the best scoring defenses in the league, 4 defensive touchdowns this season. That is best in the league. By contrast, their offense has scored 21, which is decent, but defense has scored a 5th of that by themselves. And a decent return here for Gabe Manning. And you're right, Rochelle, this Tulsa offense is going to have to do something to get on track.
Yeah, they're having too long of a drive and wasting too much time to end their drives with a field goal here. Clock is not their friend at all.
Oh, and you saw at halftime, they actually led the time of possession battle. 3 decent drives of decent length, but all ending in field goals. Brooke Beisel. 57 QBR for JQ. And so they'll go back to the bread and butter with Douglas Brown, and nothing doing for Brown at that time. 1-yard gain. Riley Hughes has had an excellent season.
Yeah, I think the DC Dragons have basically figured out the run game up the middle, and he's not getting very much up the middle anymore. I think it goes to the outside runs. Or the outside passes.
This Dragon defense has not been super special against any phase of the game. They're 18th against the pass and 18th against the run, but decently well against Brown so far. Q will throw right on the money. What a dot that was from Q. Shakes off that interception a second ago and hits Jim Copeland Jr. in stride out to the 44.
And whenever you have a tight end on a linebacker, the tight end's usually going to win that matchup. A great play calling there.
Side position against Declan O'Rourke. 2nd-year middle linebacker, and Copeland Jr. not been super involved in the offense this season. He hasn't caught a touchdown now in 2.5 seasons here in the pros, but it's a nice gain for him there. Give him 16. On the 44, Q will lock and load down the right sideline and knocked away again. John DeSantis has another pass breakup. Can you believe, Rochelle, he doesn't have any interceptions this season? He had 8 over his first 3 seasons, 0 so far through 8.5 games here in season 19.
Wow. I mean, great pass deflection. He needs to come down with the ball. Maybe that's why he doesn't play offense.
Happened to him a couple of times already. Second down, they'll run it left tackle, and Brown has a gain of about 3.
Now they find themselves 3rd and long here.
This DC front has been really solid so far. Full of sacks, only had 1 sack last week all game. 0 interceptions, already got 1 of those as well. On 3rd down, Q fires in and hauled in by Corey Jones. Inside double coverage. Move the sticks, 1st down, Desperados.
Yeah, and DC showed man coverage there, and what a dot. I mean, the ball where only his receiver could catch it. Defense was well covered there.
You saw DeSantis make a play earlier on that series, but not that time. Corey Jones has him beat. 6 catches for 48 yards in the postseason win against the Dragons last year. They'll go right back to him. Back-to-back grabs for Corey Jones. This one goes for 8.
Says another long drive by Tulsa. They're moving the ball this time, though. Let's see what happens to get into the red zone.
4th catch today for Jones. Had 4 last week against Sioux Falls. It went for 79 yards. 4 for 32 here today. He's usually one of their bigger play guys. We know that Manning can break off chunk plays, but Jones averages 15.5 yards per catch. Not today. Here goes another big play guy, Douglas Brown, and he gets the first down.
Also, he keeps moving the chains. They're just dinking and doinking here. Nothing fancy. No long passes. Just moving the chains down the field pretty persistently here.
Rochelle called this the battle of the halfbacks. It was when these two teams met in the postseason a year ago. They combined for 4 total touchdowns between the two of them. Of course, a Tulsa win send DC packing in the wild card round. Q will throw.
Look at this.
Flats wide open. Is that Manning? It is, I believe, out to the 20-yard line. Manning, it's kind of uncharted territory for him, but that works for a gain of 11.
And there was nobody defending Manning on the sidelines. They're lucky that they actually caught up with him there.
Manning was fantastic last year, in the postseason. 11 for 138 and a touchdown. Catch for him here this evening. 4 for Jones. The fringes of the red zone. Q looks Brown's way. Brown can't break free. Another great one-on-one tackle, this time by Declan O'Rourke.
And great pursuit by Declan O'Rourke because there was nobody on him. He came from the other side of the field to make that tackle. Great closing speed there.
Declan O'Rourke is a middle linebacker, and he was credited with only 1 tackle last week for DC against Charleston, which is just stunning to me. And Zach Haldorf and Mel Davis already have him for 4 here this evening, which feels like a little bit more like it for him. Loss of 2 there. Q will fire into traffic and ripped away. 2 defenders were there, and Josh Vasquez comes down with it for DC. Their second straight drive with a takeaway. That's number 5, the former Denver Nightwing.
Yeah, and I mean, the tight end went down the field. He had 2 defenders on him. Both defenders were in front of him. Maybe the pass was a little bit underthrown. Result is an interception.
You're right. Copeland Jr. was the target in the end zone. Could have been his first career touchdown if they linked up properly, but not to be. And now DC will take over. Kevin Say runs laterally. A spin move for Kevin Say, and is stopped just short of breaking that one wide open. A 25-yard run for Kevin Say gets him out of their own end zone.
The blocking he got right there, that was just insane. I was just going to say how dangerous it was to run the ball from your own end zone, but that's what I get for thinking.
He's literally running right? I mean, they always say run north and south, and he's literally running to the east and then turns it upfield and puts that one to bed. Gain of 25, he's now up to 120 rushing yards. The 29, short throw there from Synergy, and walking with it out of bounds after a gain of about 5 is Gus Scott, who's been heavily involved. Let's introduce you to the Tulsa defense. I know we haven't done this one yet. No amnesia here. Defensive line, Bertso Demora, Chris Andrews, Jaden Swift, and Mike Mello. Linebackers, Miles Gibson, Philadelphia Collins, and David Ware. And the secondary, Cameron Shaw, Nate Heslip, Skinny Washington. Safeties, Travis Arthur, and Marco Swift.
It's better late than never, Tim. We're running a little behind tonight.
And Kevin Say is running well ahead of schedule. Look at that, averaging north of 10 yards per carry. Came into today averaging 6.5. That was already 4th best in the league. That's going to go up if this continues.
At this point in the game, I think we may start seeing a lot of Kevin Say. I mean, we got a nice lead here. I would just milk the clock if I was DC at this point.
Averages 24 touches. He's already up to 19 in this game, and yeah, I would expect a whole lot more. They'll go away from him here, though. Synergy throw by Gill, and then fumbled, they say, but then picked up out of bounds by Miles Gibson. I'm not sure who got the raw end of this deal.
I want to see that again. Here we go.
It's challenging. It's not a surprise here from Deion Hawkins, Rochelle. And again, I mean, like, I don't even know who wants this challenge to who wants to win this challenge more. I mean, it goes out of bounds. It's going to be a 6-yard gain on a catch for Josh Gill, but if Tulsa wins it, it should just be an incomplete pass.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see what R62 has to say. You never know what he's going to do, so.
And my batting average on these is like south of 100, so I'm not going to even proffer a guess. And yep, there you go. Ball is overturned, so a successful challenge for Dion Hawkins. He's 1-for-1 today. Again, Miles Gibson had that ball, but he recovered it out of bounds, so it's not even like Tulsa was trying to get the ball back to them. It will just be an incomplete pass and not a catch. Josh Gill. BC's leading receiver still stuck on just one grab today. So second down, Kevin Say is thrown down after a short gain, tackled by Philadelphia Collins. Outside linebacker, had 9 tackles last week to lead the team.
Yeah, I'm looking at Tulsa's last drive, and it was 10 plays. They used almost 4 minutes, and they ended up with an interception. So their clock management's not that great tonight.
They've had the better of the drives in terms of length, right? They've had a couple of drives going double digits, but not a lot to show for it, frankly. Now down by 15. Dinergy runs right into the on-rusher. EPS was not calibrated properly there. It's another sack. Berto Demora has another one.
Yeah, he's been kind of quiet tonight, too, Tim. I might get his name called out for a sec.
It's been such a quiet year for this Tulsa defensive line. I saw this team week 2 against London Rochelle, and something that jumped out to me then is they had 2 of these 4 starters on their defensive line as Ron Wilson barely gets that punt away. Look out, Manning on the return. Never mind, nothing doing once again. Again, fantastic coverage on special teams. Of these 4 starters, and Mike Mello's a rookie, so you can take him out of the equation, but of the 3 returners on this defensive line, Rochelle, 2 of them made the All-Star game last season. Chris Andrews and Jaden Swift. That's difficult to do for one position group to have 2 members of that position group on the same team make the All-Star game, and it just frankly has not been a strength of this team so far this season. We mentioned only 11 sacks as a team. That's bottom 10 in the league, and like Chris Andrews, who averages 9 sacks per season over his career, only has 2 this season. There's a nice link up on first down as Tulsa tries to drive. Copeland Jr. on that catch, gain of 9.
Yeah, 10's not a whole lot. I think we had 10 like in one game not too long ago.
You're correct, yes. That was against Motor City, who gives up a ton of sacks. Both of these teams give up quite a bit as well. 20 allowed for both sides. That is also 10th most in the league. Nice run for Brown. Running room left tackle. Nathaniel Diggs on the stop. Nice room for Brown. 6 yards per carry for him. First down, Tulsa.
I'm still waiting for Brown to break one out today. He's come very close.
He had that 31-yard rush on, was it Tulsa's first or second play from scrimmage after the Cameron Shaw pick? And then since then, he's been kind of bottled up. You see that 93 rushing yards? So literally a third of his rushing yards came on that one carry. Midfield, Q's pass is caught somehow. There were 2 receivers there, and somehow Sanzo Robinson is able to pull that one in.
Funny, that's funny, because I thought number 44 caught it.
Thought so, too. He was down. I thought he had it in the basket, but Sanzo Robinson has it instead.
I think I'm seeing things on the field now.
I have no idea what I'm seeing sometimes, but Sanzo is seeing it pretty well. It's his second catch. Number just 11 for him on the season. Q on the run. Will dump it off. Brown breaks away. Sidestep for Douglas Brown and gets taken down at the 30. Another tackle for Josh Vasquez, but a gain of 11 for Douglas Brown.
Surprisingly enough, Tulsa's been, throwing the ball on first down instead of running it, and they come back and use their running back on second down now. So they're mixing their offense up pretty well here.
They have been. And Brown is pretty even. 3 times as many rush attempts as receiving attempts, which is not a surprise, but again, better than 5 yards per catch and 5 yards per rush on the balance of the season, and well over 100 all-purpose yards already here this evening. Time ticking down, under 2 minutes left in the third. Q, deep drop, feels the heat, fires over the middle, and a diving catch. Another grab for Sanzo Robinson. Give him 3. First and goal, Tulsa coming up.
He just found himself in the middle of the field, literally wide open. Wow. Great route there.
How about the second-year safety, Ty Woodson? Only made 10 tackles this season, Rochelle, but also has 2 interceptions. And he was supposed to be on the coverage there of Sanzo and couldn't do it. First and goal from the 10. They'll throw it out. Daylight for Brown, and he gets hit at the 3-yard line. A great rallying tackle to stop the score by Jorge Torres.
You can't give Brown that much room in front of him. I'm sorry. The cornerbacks were paying way too far back that time.
BC remade this secondary to an extent over the last couple of years. Daryl Bullock and Ty Woodson, draft picks 2 seasons ago, and now Jorge Torres and Josh Vasquez, the 2 safeties, off-season acquisitions this season. Torres stops the touchdown, at least for now. From the 3, here goes Brown, sidestep, touchdown. Douglas Brown finally gets Tulsa into the end zone. Rushing touchdown number 10 for Douglas Brown.
Time Tulsa spread on BC's defense out a little bit and allowed him to make a hole up the middle for Brown to walk right through.
Remember, the Chad pointed this out as well, Rochelle, but when Tulsa was down there inside the 5 on their first possession, they had first and goal from the 5, did not run it once. That was second and goal from the 3, so similar territory. They do run it, and Brown cashes in.
The defense was a little spread out that time, which allowed him to make a hole up the middle for Brown. So, good job on offense there.
12 total scores now this season for Brown. He's up close to 900 rushing yards, unofficially over that mark now. He had 1167 as a rookie, so he is well within reach of setting that mark or even breaking it here as a sophomore. Important PAT there from Beisel, and once again, it is an 8-point game.
And that time, the drive was a little bit shorter for Tulsa. They moved the ball pretty much quickly down the field and scored, so kudos to them on that drive.
See, you can't take advantage of their other takeaway, and Tulsa is able to capitalize now, and they are within 8. Visit the SFL website at simulationfl.net for info about the league and its 28 teams, all the places you can watch live games, plus links to apparel from Sector 6 and SFL mini helmets from 97 Sports Promotions. See all the league records, team stats, player leaderboards, the rankings of the next class of SFL talent, and so much more at simulationfl.net. Shabazz Synergy. How about that sidearm throw? Pass is caught, and then bowling over somebody on the sidelines. That is, man, what a catch there for Ronnie Shanahan. Second time we've called his name this evening. Rookie 3rd-round pick from the Annapolis Navigators. Just 5 catches on the season. He's got 2 today.
And that poor guy on the sideline never even saw that coming.
That's never something you can expect. It's just sitting there watching the game. You got a front row seat, and all of a sudden you're literally watching from your seats. Oh, sidestep for Kevin Say. That was pretty. First down, Travis Arthur with the stop.
It is like watching Kevin Say run the ball. It's pretty exciting to me.
This is another guy, Rochelle. I mean, I saw him in the first season of the SFLM, and he was a stud then, and then had to wait a little bit to get his call up here to the bigs. And since he has been amazing. He's gone over 1,100 rushing yards in each of his 3 seasons. There's a bullet from Bad Synergy, and hauled in. Josh Gill finally has his second catch. That's a big one. DC across midfield.
And that was a nice little route there. I mean, he threw a bullet. Well defended, but I mean, just a rocket from the quarterback there.
These two have had a really nice connection. It's Gill's 4th season, and now he's the number 1 wideout with Jeff Banfield off to greener pastures, and he's finally got his second catch, showing up against Tulsa for the 2nd season in a row. Done with 3 in DC, and the Dragons on top. 24-16, you're watching the SFL, presented by APM Music, live on YouTube.
This is a lot closer game than I thought it was going to be. A very low-scoring game than I thought, too. So, let's see what happens in the 4th quarter.
40 combined points. The spread, the over-under had him at 57.5. Tim Hackett and Rochelle Colston in the booth. Zach Haldorf, Mel Davis in the stat truck. Cameron Irvine working hard behind the scenes. First play of the 4th quarter. Wow. And another nice link-up from Shabazz Synergy. Hits his target in stride. That's Mike Churchill. We've seen that a couple of times today, Rochelle. And another first down.
And if you're on defense, I mean, it's well defended. There's nothing else they can really do. They're on their man. It's just throwing perfect rockets to the receivers.
you mentioned this earlier. This DC offense is so balanced over the course of this season. It's happened that way once again. Poor Craig Westlake has been left out. Everybody else has 2 catches or more. They'll toss it out once again. Another catch. That is Scott, who has had a big part to play in this game. Miles Gibson makes the stop, just short of the sticks.
I think we'll see Kevin Say here. I mean, why not?
You got at least 2 plays to pick up a couple of inches, so why not indeed? Over 150 all-purpose yards for Kevin Say through 3 quarters, excuse me. Now they will run it. Say, running room, tackle off to the races, and touchdown at the 1. A touchdown saving tackle by Philadelphia Collins, but Kevin Say has DC knocking on the Desperados' door.
I think there was like no one there to even attempt to tackle him. It was like, what happened there? Defense just broke down.
What happened there is right. Kevin Say over 1,000 rushing yards now this season. Got a big game. Tulsa jumps. Here's the give. Kevin Say scores. Pick up that flag. Another touchdown for Kevin Say. His 3rd today. And DC extends the lead.
Yeah, this penalty is just a waste of time to even call it.
I don't often know what's coming in this league, Rochelle. I mean, I learn new things every day. Talking to people like you who know their way around this league, knowing all the ins and outs, I learn things all the time. I say it every week that I'm privileged enough to call a game, but it's, you see something new every week, it feels like, and at that time we knew it was coming. It was going to be an offsides. They pick up the flag, and hat trick now for Kevin Say.
And DC extends their lead to nice lead now with only 9 minutes and 47 seconds left. Also needs to find a way to find the end zone quickly.
Doubt. And Tulsa finally was able to get their offense rolling a little bit, but Kevin Say puts an end to that one. 7 plays, 79 yards. Synergy 3 of 3 on that drive, and then Kevin Say does the rest. 17 carries for 160 yards and 3 touchdowns. Kevin Say, and somehow, Rochelle, that pales in comparison to what he did last week against Charleston. Everybody can look at that line just there and say that is an excellent game for a running back, but last week against the Predators was one of the best games of Kevin Say's career. 28 carries for 225 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. It's 8 yards per carry, and then also 50 receiving yards, so 275 total yards and 3 touchdowns for Kevin Say. Again, 160 rushing yards for him today. He's over the 1,000-yard mark once again. 50 yards shy of 1,100 for the 4th season in a row.
If I'm comparing what Douglas Brown's done today, he's had 16 attempts and 96 yards, 5 receptions. Kevin Say's had 17 attempts and 6 receptions. So, I mean, they're both playing their styles of offenses still. I think now you're going to see Tulsa become more one-dimensional with the passing game.
It's tough because that was another nice gain for Brown. It's a gain of 8. He's now over 100 rushing yards on the day, and he's just been totally outshined by Kevin Say. Brown has done all he can. He's had a nice night. The rest of this Tulsa offense has struggled to get going. So run it again. Right tackle this time for Douglas Brown, and he's got the first down.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Tulsa's in any hurry to score either. They're using Brown on the ground. I'm surprised they're not going towards a long passing game, score quickly. Get themselves back into the game somehow.
He was attempted 29 passes, completed 21 of them, so 72% completion, but only for 205 yards, 7 yards per attempt, and 2 picks. They will run it again, 3rd straight run. Decent run, all things considered there for Douglas Brown, another gain of 4.
Yes, they're just in no hurry. They're going to use all the clock they can, even though they're behind by more than 1 possession here.
Q is not the type to really light it up. He's at the bottom of the league in just about every quarterback stat. 4th to last in completion, 3rd to last in attempts, 3rd to last in yards. Only 12 passing touchdowns, but they're going to need him to be like JQ against DC last season here in the waning moments of this game. They'll check it out to Brown, and he gets stood up, tried to turn around to pick up the extra yards, but could not. It is now. It's third down. I thought I missed something there, but yeah, now it's third
Me
down.
too. It's like, what? Me too.
All right. It's like, cool. Tulsa's going to walk away with an extra shot at this, but maybe not. Possible 4-down territory here, Rochelle. We'll see. To Brown gets the give, and they'll give him the first down.
Oh, I don't know.
Gets the benefit there. Butcher drags him down, but not before Brown gets just enough to move the sticks.
They're very lucky that was called the first time. I thought he was short.
So, too. A challenge coming from Stephen Molinax. One of the league's brightest minds, and a guy who's been around this league for quite a while, especially on the offensive end. Not challenging that one.
I don't think I'd waste a challenge on it either, but
Fair.
if I was down, maybe.
7 minutes left. Brown's going to get the catch, and then he gets stuck. Nathaniel Diggs, second-year linebacker, joined DC this offseason. Big stop, 7th TFL for him this year.
I still think Tulsa needs a big explosive play at some point in this drive.
Obviously, Gabriel Manning would be the money's favorite. Got to be him at the bottom of the screen. Peanut Say's already picked off a pass intended for him once, and there's a nice play. It goes that direction. Not Manning, though. DJ Hume makes the catch. Gain of 13, first down.
That's more like it. That's what we need to see more of to move the ball faster down the field. We'll defend it again, but perfect pass.
We mentioned that DC's offense has been very diverse in this game, diversified at least, and same can be said for Tulsa. 3 catches for Sanzo, 4 for Corey Jones, 5 for Manning, 3 for Copeland, and now 2 for DJ Hume. Of course, 7 for Douglas Brown. The player we haven't heard from yet is the fullback Justin Williams, who leads the way there, but missed the block.
Nice play.
And that allows the defense to get home. Jose Fuentes used to be a standout middle linebacker back in the day, Rochelle, and makes the move to defensive tackle here for DC, and he's had a nice year.
I mean, great read there by Fuentes.
EFL number 10, a guy with 8 career interceptions now playing on the line. Flags fly. Hughes passes incomplete. You see the official that went down at the bottom of your screen. Corey Jones was the target. Good call coming up here. Let's meet with our 62.
Holding. Base snap. Or holding.
Against Tulsa. It's Will Stevens, second season left tackle.
Yeah, I didn't see the hold.
Yeah, we've seen him quite a bit today, Will Stevens, and unfortunately not a lot of it's been good.
That's also the last thing you needed right here. Now you're second and 21.
Down by 15, so field goal wouldn't do you any good, but obviously now your own side of midfield. Chance for even Beisel, who's been great today, to hit from here. Second and 21 after the hold. First accepted penalty we've seen today. That'll help. Nice throw from JQ right in stride, and Corey Jones has that catch. I feel like that's probably what they were trying to do on that previous play.
I'm not sure, Tim, but yeah, that's a big chunk of yardage gain there. Make it third manageable here.
Jones now over 500 receiving yards on the season. Again, usually averages better than 15 yards per catch. That's not been how they've used him today, only averaging about 10 yards per catch. 3rd and 7. Q lofts it up, bobbled by Copeland, and then dropped. Q's pass was behind him, but Jim Copeland Jr. could not turn around and haul it in. It's 4th down. Here comes Ismaila Farouk.
I mean, at this point, I'm not even sure. Should you go for it?
I was going to ask you the same thing, Rochelle. You're down 15 with only 5:16 left. It's 4th and 7, so the chance of conversion is not high, but a punt from the 38-yard line?
Yeah, I don't know about this one. I think I'd be going for it.
Maybe if they got something there on 3rd down, that would have changed the calculus for Deion Hawkins, but they will punt it, and excellent coverage. Just barely staying out of the end zone is Brandon Smallwood for Tulsa veteran secondary, veteran safety, excuse me. And DC will have to start from the 3.
If you're Tulsa, you need to come out here on defense. You need to get a 3 and out. You need to keep them, deep in their own territory, get decent field position. That's the best scenario that could happen here. See what Kevin Say has to say about it.
DC's already started from this neck of the woods once, and on that play, it was a 20-yard run for Kevin Say, and that's a nice start as well for the Dragons. A dot from Shabazz Synergy. Neither of these quarterbacks have thrown a touchdown, as you can see, but Josh Gill makes that catch. Gain of 9. Make it 8 for him.
Josh Gill needs to stay in bounds. There's no need for him to get out of bounds. You don't want the clock to stop here for DC.
Well, I was just about to say, what happened the last time DC was at this position? They had that 20-plus yard run for Kevin Say, but then were not able to move the ball after that, and that drive ended in a punt. So it's exactly what Tulsa needs right here. Clock keeps moving somehow. Here's Say, breaks through the tackle. First down at DC.
I swear that clock stopped him. I'm not crazy.
He went out of bounds, did he not?
I thought he did too, but okay.
I thought that was the point of the play. Either way, clock's going to keep running there. Now under 4:30 left in regulation. And DC up by 15. Remember, Tulsa scored first. It's been all Dragons since then. Tulsa showing heat. Now 4:20 left in regulation today.
He sure has. Core kept and Say there's lucky to get up.
Well, he just doubled his season output. Philadelphia Collins, 3 tackles for loss through 8 games. 3 tackles for loss in this game already. Loss of 2. Now under 4 to go. 7 once again in the box for Tulsa. They show blitz up the middle. Miles Gibson, the middle linebacker, right on top of the center. James Judah. Snapper with 9. Say running outside. Can't break
nice
tackle. Great stop once again. Another loss of 2, and Berto Demora has that one.
Yeah, Tulsa's defense is doing a good job containing Say right now. When we're stopping, they have they'll get great field position on the punt.
So sound familiar, Rochelle? 3 tackles for loss for Collins on the season, 3 tonight. 3 tackles for loss on the season for Demora, 3 tonight.
Wow.
These 2 guys are showing up. All 3 of those TFLs for Berto were sacks, of course. So his first non-sacks TFLs. He's got 2 of those tonight. 3rd and 14. Clock running, and down goes Synergy. 3 straight stops in the backfield for Tulsa. Mike Mello, the rookie, has his first SFL sack, and what a big time for it.
Man, what an excellent time for it. You just made the stop of your life, son.
5 tackles all season for Mike Mello. 2nd-round pick from the Madison Lynx. Does not play a whole lot, especially when Tulsa flexes into a 4-backer or a dime set. Is usually the guy who gets pulled off the fields. And Mello, and just 5 tackles on the season, will push DC back to their own 6. Don Wilson with a tricky punt. And remember, it's Manning, the league's all-time leader in return yards, ready to go. And again, DC is ready to stop them. Manning will start Tulsa from the 34-yard line. Next Level Sports coverage of the SFL continues tonight when the Fort Worth Toros and the Mexico City Aztecs battle for first place in the South and for first-round bye positioning. Kick off at 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time with live look-ins from Florida versus Arizona. For channel guide and more info about NXT, visit NLSE.com. It's coming up next on Next Level Sports. JQ trying to rewrite the script.
No.
He throws another interception. 3rd takeaway today for the Dragons. Number 2 for Peanut Say, and that might seal it.
I was going to say, Tim, you said Mike Mello. Is he related to Mark Mello?
Believe so, yes.
Interesting.
Mike is in the chat, I believe, so he can confirm or deny this. I won't speculate, but yes, Mark is one of the better defensive line players in this league, has been for years. And Mike now joining the fold as well with his biggest play. And then right after that, interception number 7 this season, Peanuts Say. He's in the top 30 in the league in both PDs and picks. Leads the team in both of those. And now that one might seal it. 2-minute warning and 3 timeouts left for Tulsa, but they're going to have to do exactly what they just did. Philadelphia Collins makes that stop.
I mean, it's not related to Mark, it's related to Demora.
All right, well, that shows what I get for guessing. I thought Mark mentioned something back when he came in the league, but that's what I get for not confirming these things. either way, happy to have you in the league, Mike Mello, and welcome to the party. Totamora, an old friend of ours from the minor leagues. Massachusetts Mauler, they used to call him. Second down, Kevin Say. Running room for Kevin Say into enemy territory. And a big play for Kevin Say once again across midfield on one run. And that's going to seal it for the Dragons.
Oh, look at that block. Wow. 2 defenders to bring him down.
Out across midfield. Tulsa has to use its first timeouts. 188 rushing yards now unofficially for Kevin Say. At this rate, he's now over 200 all-purpose yards today as well. He needed 208 to get to 1,500 on the season. He's got that, and that'll actually drop him for one. He'll lose one there. Shaw with the hit, along with Marco Swift for Tulsa. But he needed 208 total yards of offense to get to 1,500 on the season, and he's now got 215 or thereabouts today, so he's hit another timeout for Tulsa. They are spent, and the Dragons are going to coast to their 8th straight win. Say 15 yards now from 1,100. He has reached that mark in every season since he's joined the SFL. One of the best backs in the league, facing off against a fellow stud at the position, second-year tailback Douglas Brown. He was great today, Rochelle, but say no more. DC is going to win this one again.
Yep, and he won't get his 15 yards today. We're seeing the best formation. If you're on the winning team, the victory formation is in effect here.
Well, as we mentioned in the first quarter, if you were with us then, this result is going to throw Tulsa's division, the Central Division, into a tizzy. Tulsa's going to drop to 5-4. Sioux Falls is off this week. They're also 5-4. And because of Minnesota's statement win, upset win really, last time out, yesterday I should say, against Baltimore, all 3 of those teams are now going to be 5-4. DC will have to snap it one more time. So that means Sioux Falls, Rochelle, is going to move into first place in the Central by way of all of the tiebreakers. And there's still a lot more to be decided in this division. Minnesota's playing excellently right now. This division could have 3 teams in the playoffs or at least contending for it, which is a surprise. This is going to hurt Tulsa's chances, but still one of the better teams in the SFL this season, working on one of the best seasons in franchise history, but they're going to come up short today.
Well, the interceptions just killed them today. I mean, the interceptions, the long drives that resulted in 3 points. I mean, you can't win that way. It's a team like DC anyway.
Well, DC started the season against the reigning champs, a loss to the Baltimore Vultures. Since then, the Dragons have been flying high. Kevin Say scores 3 touchdowns to lead the Dragons to their 8th straight win. For the first time, DC defeats Tulsa. It's a final now from Dracarys Coliseum, 31-16. The Dragons improve to 8-1. I'll tee it up for you anyway. Who's your player of the game, Rochelle?
Kevin Say. Say day.
It's a say day for DC, no question about it. Their 8th straight win. They have now set a franchise record for wins in a season. They set it last season when they went 7-5. Now DC is 8-1 with 3 more games still to go. A new record for wins in a season for Jermaine Smith, Stephen Molinax, and this vaunted franchise. Again, they won the SFL championship in their first season of existence. Finally got back to the playoffs last year where they lost to this Tulsa team. And now DC here in season 19. They look like one of the best teams in the league, Rochelle. I don't know about you, but I think that's fair to say at this point.
I can't wait for week 14 to watch Baltimore play DC again and play DC at home.
That's going to be a big one. I'm curious to see how Baltimore can rebound from a loss. Not something that they've had to deal with really at all over the last 2-3 seasons, and they will have to do it. And now maybe DC has the opportunity to win that division, or at least lock things up for them against the reigning champs at the end of the day, at the end of the regular season. Rochelle Colson, your final thoughts?
Like I said, I had a great time today. It was a great game. Like I said, it was a say show on both sides of the ball.
200 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns for Kevin Say, who hits that mark for the second straight week. DC's won 8 in a row, and they are now 8-1. For all of us here at the SFL, including Mel Davis, Zach Haldorf, Cameron Irvine, and my partner Rochelle Colston, I've been Tim Hackett. We'll see you next time. Until then, so long. Make sure you tune in to Next Level Sports. Coming up, SFL continues.
Great night, everybody.